One of the biggest astrological shifts of 2025 is happening between March 2nd and April 13th of this year, and it could completely reshape the way you approach pricing, clients, and business relationships. Venus retrograde. This is not a time to rush into major financial decisions, to rebrand your business overnight, or to ignore past client dynamics. Instead, this is a powerful moment to reassess and refine and reconnect with what truly aligns in your business. And this one is big because Venus is moving through Aries and Pisces, two very different energies that will shift how we navigate confidence, leadership, creativity, and financial flow. I'm going to break it all down for you today, including how this Venus retrograde will impact you and your business by rising sign. So stick around to get your personalized forecast. If you want to dive deeper into planning your business for Q2 and beyond, you can access my 2025 Cosmic Business Planning Workshop replay instantly now, and all the materials that go along with that to help you align with the astrological energy of the year ahead. Today we are talking about Venus retrograde. Venus is our planet of money, of relationships, of beauty, of connection and attraction. And it's a very important planet for our businesses. And every 18 months or so, Venus moves into a 40-day retrograde cycle. This is a significant shift in how we perceive value, pricing, branding, and business relationships. So you can think of Venus retrograde as a turning point. Venus is going to move from an evening star, which is a bit of completion, of reviewing the past, into a morning star where she's reborn, where there's new inspiration coming through. And this is because Venus is going to connect again with the sun through this retrograde. I also want to bring up this ancient myth of Inanna from a business perspective. This is the myth that we often associate with Venus retrograde. The ancient myth of Inanna and her descent into the underworld is something that mirrors the transformation that Venus undergoes through her retrograde. So it's a powerful metaphor for us to work with as business owners, navigating change, reinvention, and rediscovering our value. So in the myth, Inanna, who's an ancient goddess associated with Venus, hears a call from the underworld, from her sister, Ereshkigal, in the underworld, and she embarks on a journey of transformation. Now, as she descends into the underworld, she moves through 7 gates, and through each gate, she is stripped of her garments and symbols of power and royalty. And when she arrives in the underworld before her sister, Ereshkigal, the ruler of the underworld, she is completely vulnerable. Ereshkigal represents the unseen, the neglected, or the hidden aspects of our power and our value. So in the myth, she kills her sister Inanna and suspends her lifeless from a meat hook. This is not the end for Inanna, though. This is the beginning of her rebirth, and it's only through this recognition and witnessing of her own darkness that Inanna is revived and restored to life. Some helpers come to find Inanna and bring her back to life. They acknowledge Ereshkigal's suffering, which is the reason why Inanna went down there in the first place, was to help her sister through her suffering. And it's in this witnessing of our own pain, our own darkness, that we're able to be reborn. And I know this is a little bit intense when we're talking about business, but I think it's really important to acknowledge that through business, we go through many dark nights of the soul and many times where we need to reconnect with our values and refresh our memory of why we are doing this in the first place. And so the myth of Inanna and the Venus retrograde process itself is this process of reviewing and reconnecting with what makes us who we are in business and acknowledging our darker side, acknowledging our mistakes and maybe the places where we have gone wrong, and allowing us to be reborn into a better, stronger, more vibrant version of ourselves. Before we go any further, I would love to know, pop it in the comments, where is Venus retrograde happening for you in your chart? Do you know which houses it's going to be moving through? Pop it in the comments and let me know. We can think of this descent phase. The retrograde begins where old business patterns, client relationships, and pricing models may feel like they're falling apart. In the underworld phase, Venus is invisible. This is where Venus connects with the sun and we can't actually see Venus, the planet, at all. This is a time of deep reflection. What parts of your brand, your pricing, your financial beliefs need transformation in this time? And then the rebirth is when Venus reemerges as a morning star. She moves through her connection with the sun and out the other side and emerges with clarity to help us with our own clarity of our worth, of our pricing, of our best and most aligned business partnerships and collaborations. So just as Inanna eventually reclaims her throne and has that sense of deeper wisdom, you can move through this Venus retrograde cycle with a stronger and more aligned business foundation and a stronger sense of self-worth as well in your business. So Venus retrograde follows an 8-year cycle, and this is important to note because Venus will revisit the same 5 areas of the zodiac over a 40-year period. So this means the last time Venus was retrograde in Aries and Pisces was 8 years ago in 2017. So think back to what was happening in your business and your finances, client relationships at that time if you've been in business that long. Were you launching something new that's now up for reassessment? Did you go through a major shift in your pricing, in your branding, or in your business relationships? What financial patterns or client dynamics emerged in that time? If you can think back to that, this could be really helpful for you to understand what might be at play for you during this 2025 Venus retrograde. So there's going to be a distinct energy shift during the Venus retrograde of this year. We have Venus retrograde, first of all, in Aries from March 2nd to 27th. This is Venus in her detriment. So Venus is already operating differently than usual. Instead of attracting and receiving, it's about taking action and asserting yourself and asserting your value. So you might feel during this time a push to raise your prices, to renegotiate contracts, or to take bold risks with your brand. But retrograde energy calls for some careful review before you commit. So if you are feeling undervalued in business, this is a time to reclaim your confidence and adjust your pricing and your leadership style, but beware of going over the top or generating a lot of conflict in this time because Venus in Aries is like all systems go. Let's do this thing. Let's take over the world. And that's awesome. But retrograde, she might be operating in a slightly more challenging way, and it might not have the results that you're seeking. And you might also feel quite differently at the end of the retrograde about the actions that you took while Venus was retrograde in Aries. So Venus will then retrograde through Pisces. Now this is from March 27 to April 13, and keep in mind these are Australian dates. Check your own time zone for the changes. Venus retrograde in Pisces represents our creativity, our emotional spending, I suppose, and our spiritual expansion. So Venus is exalted in Pisces, meaning its energy is heightened. It's got more intuition, creative vision, emotional clarity in this sign. And this period supports refining our creative projects, reworking our brand aesthetics, and reassessing our financial habits. So if your business relies on creative work or deep client relationships, this is a great time to reconnect with why you do what you do and make sure it aligns with your values. Okay, let's break this down by rising sign. We start with Aries. Venus is going to be retrograde through your first house and your 12th house, Aries. And this means you're going to be reviewing your personal brand, your leadership approach, and your confidence. So you're going to be reassessing how you present yourself to the world and your business identity. You might also be, especially when Venus moves retrograde into Pisces, examining some hidden fears around money and success. Because remember, this is your 12th house of hidden things and a bit of our subconscious processing there and all of that kind of juicy stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So you may be working through some of that stuff, especially when Venus is retrograde in Pisces. A business action tip for you is to really make sure that your pricing reflects your confidence and your expertise, and avoid undercharging, but also avoid going too far and pushing the boundaries a little bit too far. When Venus is retrograde in Aries and you are an Aries rising, you might feel more combative than usual around your value. So it's really important not not to underprice, but also don't be too aggressive in your pricing strategy either. Okay, Taurus rising. This Venus retrograde is happening in your 12th and 11th houses, but be aware, Taurus and Libra, that Venus is your ruling planet. So when she is retrograde, you're going to feel it more than the other signs. So even though this retrograde is happening in kind of, particularly in Aries, it's happening in a more hidden part of your chart in the 12th. Venus is still your chart ruler, so you may feel its effects a little more strongly. You're going to be reviewing some subconscious money patterns and limiting beliefs during this time, especially while Venus is in your 12th. You're going to be rethinking your networking, your collaborations, and your community connections when Venus moves into your 11th house of Pisces. You're really going to be assessing, where do I need to be? What places do I need to be in? You may also be reassessing your social media strategy around this time and letting go of outdated business dreams or networks that no longer serve you. The business action tip for you, Taurus, is to take a step back to align your business with your deeper values before you launch anything new, before you engage in a new community. Think about how you can realign your business with your values. Okay, Gemini rising. This is Venus retrograde in your 11th and your 10th houses. So this is reassessing social media, industry collaborations, networking strategies, and then reviewing your career direction, your business visibility, and your leadership style. So potentially reconnecting with, groups you've been in before or networks you've been in before, or maybe even people you've worked with in the past. And a business action tip for you is to strengthen valuable associations and connections and reconsider which networks or social media platforms and industry groups really serve your vision for the long term of your business. And remembering that this is also retrograding through your 10th house of public reputation and career. So really considering, are you showing up in a way that reflects your values here? Cancer rising. For you, this Venus retrograde is happening in your 10th and 9th houses. So again, you are rethinking career strategy, public reputation, business authority, and leadership. You're going to be revisiting your long-term goals and your business expansion plans, which is that 9th house. You're going to be exploring your deeper purpose in your professional life as well. And a business action tip for you is to really reassess your long-term business goals and how you position yourself as an expert. Is this aligned with who you are, what you value, your aesthetic, your tone of voice, all the things that feel true and good to you and pleasurable as well? Because remembering Venus is also our planet of pleasure. Leo rising. This Venus retrograde is happening in your 9th and 8th houses. So you're going to be reviewing education, your business education, your marketing strategies potentially, your international opportunities or your publishing opportunities. You're going to be reassessing some financial partnerships, some investments maybe, or some debts and taxes situations, that kind of thing. There are potential delays in launching or expanding your reach here because Venus is moving retrograde. We don't want to throw ourselves into big expansion plans when the energy is retrograde. We want to wait until that energy is moving forward again. And that's when you can feel that sense of expansion into your 9th house when Venus moves back through Aries, when it's going direct, when it's moving forward. So a business action tip for you is to refine your messaging at this time. Really great time to rework your content, your big picture marketing strategies for clarity and impact. For Virgo rising, this is Venus in your 8th and your 7th houses. So you are really rethinking shared finances, any high ticket offers, one-on-one offers, and business investments. You are evaluating your client relationships at this time and your strategic partnerships, and you're checking in to see if these things are still aligned with your values, if these people and these contracts, these partnerships are aligned. You're going to want to avoid risky financial decisions or rushed investments in this time. Remember, Venus is moving backwards from our perspective on Earth. She is not in direct motion. She's not in forward motion. So you don't want to be making big, chunky investments at this time. You want to wait until Venus is moving direct, moving forward again, before you put your money on the line in those kinds of situations. Business action tip conduct some sort of financial audit or review before you make any new investments. Look for areas to restructure debt or your pricing or the way that you have your investments, your taxes, all of that kind of thing. Do a really thorough review at this time. That's a powerful way to use this Venus retrograde energy. For Libra rising, this retrograde is happening in your 7th and your 6th houses. And remember, Libra rising, Venus is your ruling planet. So you are probably going to feel this a little more than the other signs. At this time, you're going to want to review client relationships, business contracts, and one-to-one services. You are going to want to reassess your work habits, your team dynamics, and your business operations. So there's potential for clients to come back or you to be renegotiating some partnerships here. Maybe clients who left, maybe coming back, or there may be issues with some past clients, that kind of thing to work through. And it's also a time where you might be renegotiating some partnerships or some collaborations. And also your systems and processes are up for a massive review. Are they working as well as they should? Are they allowing you to get into creative flow as much as they should? Those are the kinds of questions you want to be asking yourself during this retrograde period. A business action tip is to take a hard look at partnerships and processes and decide which ones align with your values and your long-term vision, and also which ones bring you joy and which ones don't. Scorpio rising. This is Venus retrograde in your 6th and your 5th houses. So you are refining your daily work routines during this period. You are refining your business processes and your service structures. You're also revisiting some creative projects, some passion-based business ideas, and some visibility strategies or advertising strategies. This time, you are really thinking about how you can revise or improve your offers and your workflow efficiency. This is a powerful benefit of the Venus retrograde. It will help you to uncover some things that aren't working for you, that aren't feeling good to you anymore when it comes to your offers, when it comes to your visibility, and when it comes to your processes and systems. So a business action tip for you is to adjust your workflows and systems for more efficiency, for more pleasure, for more flow, and prioritize what really matters and serves your creativity. Okay, Sagittarius rising. This is Venus in your 5th and your 4th houses. So you are reevaluating your creative direction, your brand aesthetics, your business pleasure. You're also reviewing home-based business structure, your work from home setup, your home office setup if you work from your home, or your office setup if you work from an office, your emotional stability in business as well. You're going to reconnect potentially with old creative projects or passion pursuits and potentially upgrade them in some way over this retrograde period. A business action tip for you is to reconnect with the joy in your business, to work through these old creative projects instead of forcing new ones, and allow yourself to really tap into the pleasure and the joy of the creation and the recreation process. Capricorn rising. Venus will be retrograde through your 4th and your 3rd houses. So this is reviewing your emotional foundations. This is reviewing your home-based business decisions, but also your home-based business space or your office space, potentially your real estate investments if you've got some, and that's part of, your kind of business operations. You are reassessing your communication strategies as well with Venus moving through your 3rd house. Your client messaging, your content marketing is all up for review and checking that it's aligned with your values. There's some potential brand storytelling revisions or a realignment of some sort of work-life balance here for you, Capricorn rising as well. A business action tip for you is to align your business with personal stability. So consider restructuring your workspace or your work-life balance so it feels more in alignment with your values and more stable in some way. And you are allowing yourself some creative expression through your content marketing and through your home office space potentially as well. Aquarius rising. This is Venus retrograde in your 3rd and your 2nd house. So you're going to be reviewing your business communication, your content strategy, your networking skills. This is like email marketing central for you, Aquarius rising. You're really thinking about how am I communicating to my closest audience, which is generally speaking in online business, your email list. It's where you have the most intimate conversations in your business or for your business. And so you are reviewing that kind of business communication. You're also, because it's moving through your second house, you're reviewing your financial habits. You are checking on your pricing strategies. You're checking on your revenue and your spending. You are checking in on your money mindset and how you value yourself and your work. That's when Venus is moving through Pisces. You're going to be rethinking how you convey your value and your message to your audience, or how you convey your value through your message to your audience. So a business action tip for you is to edit and refine. This is a fantastic time to revisit past ideas, bring them up to date, to really improve your content marketing in some way. Make sure that it's aligned with your values. Make sure that you're bringing across some more creativity, some more play even into that content as well, because Venus is there to help bring a bit more of that, to remind you that that might be missing from some of your content. Pisces rising. This is Venus retrograde in your second and your first house. So when it's in Aries, it's in your second house. And when it moves through Pisces, it is in your first house, in your house of identity, your personal brand house. So you're going to be reflecting on both personal finances, values, and self-worth in business, and reassessing your brand identity and your business presence, how you show up, how people see you in business. You may be reviewing some pricing structures, some financial priorities, revenue, expenditure, all that sort of stuff. And you're really going to be wanting to think about whether you are showing your values, your creativity through your personal brand as well. So a business action tip for you is to strengthen some financial boundaries at this time. Make sure you're valuing your work appropriately, and make sure that you are allowing yourself to shine and allowing that Venus to really come through your business identity, your personal brand. Okay, Venus retrograde is such a powerful time to reflect, to reassess, to fine-tune your approach to money and to business relationships. So you can take this further by getting instant access to my 2025 Cosmic Business Planning Workshop and all of the materials that go along with that to help you plan the rest of your year in alignment with your astrology chart and the transits that are going on around us. If you want to understand more about your Venus and how it works in your business and how you can channel your passion through working with your Venus sign, you can check out my video or my audio version. I will link to it in the show notes. And if you're watching on YouTube, you will see that as one of the recommended videos coming up next.